Hey everybody, it's Mike Copera with podcastcondition.com, bringing the 63rd episode of What You Drinking, and we're here with Dan, and Doug has joined us, and I want to thank you guys both for being with us this week. How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. How about you?
Doing really well. I just opened up 2 beers, so I'm twice as happy as I normally am when we start a show. I'm gonna do a little side by side. We spun on the wheel last week that we're gonna do West Coast style IPAs. So I brought a couple of them to the table to do, like a side by side. But to start every episode, we're gonna do the little bit of a commercial here, and then we'll get started with what everyone's drinking here. But every week we mention our sponsor, which is Puerto Rico Food and Liquors here in Chicago, Illinois, in the Humboldt Park Ukrainian Village neighborhood at 2559 West Augusta at Rockwell in Augusta, and that's Chicago. Give them a call at 773-342-2678 for any updates to any new beers that they've added to the shelves or anything like that. I believe sometimes they'll take requests and they'll ask their distributors if they can bring some other beers that maybe they don't normally hang on to. You can also follow them on Twitter at PRFL2559, which is their initials and address. They're on Facebook, and their beer menus page is usually pretty quickly or usually updated on a regular basis. And I know Junior's just started sending out some more emails too on some newer things that just came out. So check them out if you're ever in the Chicago area at Puerto Rico Food and Liquors. That is our business end of things. And now let's go ahead and start talking about some beers. What do you guys have? Dan, what you drinking this week? Did you get yourself a West Coast style IPA? I think Dan's still on delay.
All right. If it's one meme delay, if that's a delay.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he frozen? All right.
I think he's frozen.
All right, Doug, what do you got there, man?
Well, as being this
Are you guys still there?
The question is, are you still there?
That's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna send him a text and see if he can figure this out while you tell us about what you're drinking there, Doug.
Well, it's being this was the first time joining you fellas, and so I was not aware of any particular style per se.
No problem. We are pretty open.
Yeah, I'm drinking a Chicken Killer barley wine from Santa Fe Brewing Company.
Nice. What is that on the label? Can I see that again? I'm sorry.
It is a dog wearing a sombrero with smoking pistols in his hands.
I like it. I think Dan's giving it another shot.
And it's supposed to be, I guess. Hold on, I gotta pull my laptop in. I didn't realize my battery's going to die. I just heard the sound, and I'm like, I don't know what that sound is.
So, Santa Fe, is that a newer brewery, or how long have they been around?
I feel they've been around a while. It says New Mexico's first microbrewery. I want to say that they just recently celebrated their 25th anniversary, actually.
Oh, wow.
They just recently did their 25th anniversary Saison was their anniversary beer they canned. And it was out last year, I think. So, I guess they're coming up on 26 years now.
Oh wow! Well, good for them, man.
I think due to their limited distribution, they don't really get a lot of publicity. Except I think they're pretty much just around the kind of New Mexico area, and I think they recently just signed a deal with some folks in Missouri, and distribute now to the greater St. Louis area as well as the Lake of the Ozarks area.
So. Oh, nice. So, is that the area that you live in, or?
I am actually on the East Coast in Virginia.
Oh, nice.
Oh, whereabouts in Virginia?
I'm in Roanoke.
Okay. Oh, because we're actually going to be hitting the Outer Banks of North Carolina next week, so.
That's a great place.
Yeah, so it's not too far away. That's although wait, Roanoke, because I'm thinking Roanoke.
No, I'm in the
Where would
south.
that be in Virginia?
I'm in the southwestern part of Virginia. For me to get to the Outer Banks would probably take about 6 hours. I mean, it's a haul. 'Cause we basically drive across the length of the state and then
Okay,
down.
yeah, I was gonna say.
So we're far enough south that you literally have
Okay,
to
I
drive up the
got you.
southern border. But yeah, it's
Any
a great
good,
area.
any good brewery suggestions for that area that he's visiting?
For Outer Banks,
Oh,
one in particular, Wicked Weed.
Oh,
Wicked Weed is
Wicked Weed.
I'm not Wicked Weed. I'm plugging another brewery. I'm plugging a brewery out of Asheville, North Carolina. Um,
Yeah,
what was the name of it?
actually, I think I looked into this.
Weeping,
They don't just.
Weeping Radish.
Okay, yeah, that's on the way in. They have like a brew pub, and they're
Yeah,
specialized in German styles, right?
it's a funny story because it's owned by a German immigrant that came to the
Hmm.
U.S. and was a farmer, and there was a lack of German beers in the United States, and something about he brought his brother over that worked at a brewery to brew authentic German beers so he could enjoy German beers in the U.S. And then it just kind of exploded to what it is now, and you get some of their beers like they're Kolsch, and they do like a black Kolsch, and their
Hmm.
beers are fantastic.
All right, I'll have to check them out. No, because last time I was in, distribution in North Carolina is kind of funny because the Outer Banks is a pretty big tourist destination, but it's not a huge urban center. So as a result, there's a lot of hit and miss on what exactly gets distributed out there that is even local. Like some Asheville beers just never get that far east because they just hang around the mountains and
Where are you
you know,
coming down from?
well, I'm coming down from Chicago, so
Okay, are you flying or driving?
we're flying. Yeah.
Where are you
Uh,
flying into?
we're going to be into what is it, like Virginia Beach, Newport News, that
Oh, okay.
area, and then just driving down from the airport there to.
Gotcha. I was trying to think if there's any, depending on where you were flying into. I was gonna see if I was familiar with any good stores in the area, but I'm not very familiar with the that area. I know there's a new brewery just opened up recently over that away. That's
Hmm.
oh, it's owned and run by veterans, and I
Okay.
believe it's all the employees are like military veterans, and I think they brew beer. All their beers are named kind of something military. It's supposed to be pretty good.
That's
hmm.
cool. Now I do know some stuff down there because we've gone there a number of times. So like, there's a
Hmm.
place mile marker 6 in Kill Devil Hills called Chips, and Chips has got a lot of good stuff. I think they've got a
Have you
fantastic
ever been
selection.
to the Outer Banks Brewing Company?
Yes, yeah, the one with the windmill.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much every. Yeah, that's in Kill Devil Hills as well. That's a good place. I mean, it's not the most amazing beer on the planet, but it's very good beer reliably, and one of the few kind of local breweries in that area. I think there's
There are,
one
yeah,
other.
there definitely aren't many.
Yeah, they send they. It seems like they're mostly in like the Charlotte or Asheville area for the most part. Maybe in the
Um,
Raleigh Durham area is a few too. But
yeah, there's a few really good ones in the Raleigh Durham area.
mm,
Um, it's just that part of North Carolina. It's kind of like you said. It's a huge tourist destination, but there's not a lot of you know there's not a huge population there. If you're not on the Outer Banks, that inland area of North Carolina, there's not a whole lot going on
yeah,
until you go south.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Unless you're military, there's some military stuff there. But yeah, a lot of it seems to be parkland and seashore sort of
Yeah,
either.
exactly.
You know,
So what's up,
so
Skylar? How you doing over there? Didn't
Hey
wanna
guys.
didn't wanna have you just sitting there without acknowledging you down there. Uh,
Oh,
what what beer you bring for the night?
I got the Stochasticity Project Grapefruit Slam IPA.
ah,
When you're talking about West Coast IPA, you're talking about the bitterness dominating over the malt profile. And with this one, you get it double time because you've got the aggressive amount of hop bitterness, but you also have grapefruit bitterness in there. that plays around with the fruity notes in it. It's awesome. I love it.
What's the brewery on that again?
Stochasticity Project, which actually turned out to be Stone.
Stone,
but
right?
They
Yeah, okay.
marketed it. They put Stone anywhere on the bottle. They wanted it to be like a special reveal so that people who bought it wouldn't know it was a Stone brew until after they announced it. And if you look closely, you can kind of see their gargoyle in there, but it's not evident, or it wasn't before they announced it. Now I'm like, Stone.
That's cool. I think I've seen that in the store here in Chicago at Binny's before. I just haven't picked that one up.
Well, they have a new one. They have a new one out too now. The Quad or something.
Mm-hmm. This whole series, they have a penchant of naming it things that are very hard to pronounce. So.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go into trying to name what the second one is. It's something wild.
Nice. And it looks like Mike dropped in too. What's going on, Mike? How are you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
It's good, man. We're drinking hoppy beer so far, so I want to see what you brought to the table. What are you drinking tonight?
Not very unique, but it's a good one. Stone's Enjoy by the 4th of July.
Well, there you go.
It's fresh. It's hoppy. Before I signed on tonight, I did a little research and looked up what people thought the definition of a West Coast IPA is. And one of the people, there was a number of definitions, and one of them, some of the common things I saw was made on the West Coast, stronger than regular IPAs, bracingly bitter, and Stone's Enjoy by is definitely all of those. The description that I liked the best that I saw was that it has no caramel malts, is unbalanced, and really has no desire to be balanced. And it's just heavily hopped. And that's definitely this beer, and I think pretty descriptive of West Coast IPAs in my mind. Is just there's no desire to be balanced. It's all about the hops, and this is definitely a good example of that.
Yep, I agree with that, and that's a good example of one, and from a brewery that has claimed to start that entire style, so it's a good one. Dan, it's good to have you back. You were kind of fading in and out there, and you were frozen, so we didn't get to hear what you had earlier. So I think we got you live again. So wanted to give you a chance to talk about what beer you had there. So. What's that?
All right. Well, before technology kills me again, I brought the Green Flash. It's a rye Imperial rye IPA called Road Warrior. This is really good. This was one that I'd seen. It comes in 4-packs, and usually Green Flash has a different label configuration. That's a little bit odd for the graphic on there. So it kind of caught my eye immediately. And I've been meaning to try it ever since. Really tasty. It has it's a combination of Columbus, Mosaic, and Amarillo hops with the rye malt in there that sweeten it up and balance it out with some crystal malt for some additional sweetness. I see. Thanks, Doug. Doug's mentioning on here that the labels are going to be new going forward, so this may actually be a sign of things to come rather than just it being an unusual beer for them. But really tasty. I don't know if you can see it. It's it's a darker coppery orange. And
it almost looks brown from here.
Yeah, it does here too. It's getting that close. That's just, it's really assertive. Part of that is because it's an Imperial IPA rather than just a straight-up IPA. So, it's that much more on top of being an IPA in terms of just cranking everything up to 11. But really good stuff. The rye spiciness isn't getting clobbered by the hops. The hops are clobbering the malt, but the crystal is in there to kind of balance it out a little bit with some sweetness. Really, really tasty.
Nice. Now, Doug, do you know is that for all of their beers? They're changing like the style of the labels, or is that just for a select?
From what I've seen, it seems like most of their labels have been changed into that new to them kind of style. Yeah, see, like
I still have this one here, or so.
Yeah, so I think they're going from that what you have to what Dan has. From
Gotcha.
a lot of the newer bottles that I've seen have had that newer style label.
Yeah. This is like a darker IPA, because I've also got open here the overrated from Surly, which is not a brewery on the West Coast, but if I don't know, you can't see it from here, but like when the light's through it, this is more of like red copper, and this is you can kind of see it when you do like that. So I don't know, it's same style of beer, but this one comes in a 16-ounce can, which is.
I think sometimes when you get into the double IPAs, the color is kind of a afterthought. We did a last weekend. Two of my buddies and I had just gotten in a trades bunch of bottles of Pliny, and there's a local, well, not local in me, but local in Virginia, a brewery called Williamsburg Ale Works, and they do a double IPA called Bitter Valentine. That is fantastic. And we tasted them blind. I had my wife pour us 6 glasses, 3 of each, and we tasted them side by side without knowing which one was which. And that Pliny, I mean, if you guys have had it, I mean, it's so light in color compared to so many other. I've tasted blind against many other beers in the past, but side by side with Bitter Valentine had that kind of dark copper color that you were showing a minute ago, and where Pliny was that kind of super light, crystal clear kind of beer that you wouldn't typically think of for a double IPA.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Dan?
I was just going to say no, that's very true, because I'm just remembering drinking Pliny and how that was one of the things that almost strikes me immediately about that beer is just how crystal clear and just kind of pretty. It's a pretty looking beer.
It's a very crisp, clean looking beer. I mean, versus like if you get something like, Heady Topper, they say drink it from the can, but you pour that in glass and it's like you get floaties and it's. I mean, it's a reason they say drink it from a can.
Right.
So as far as ABV though goes, is the style any different than your normal IPA, or is it, because it's more hopped up, does that do anything to the ABV? Because mine here is like this was 7.3 for my Green Flash, which kind of puts it up. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of puts it up there.
I think it's all about, kind of what the brewery was called. I think I guess if you're going to style, when you get into like BJCP's guidelines, that kind of 7.5 range is usually the turning point from when you get from IPA to the double IPA, as they call them. And of course, obviously the hop, or the bitterness and the IBUs.
Yeah. And Dan, you said yours is a double IPA, right?
That's correct. It's an Imperial IPA.
That's cool. What's the ABV?
It's a 9%, which is, it's probably about on par for a double IPA, Imperial IPA. It may be a little on the hotter side of alcohol in some, but not many. I mean, they usually don't go much below 8% on the Imperials in my experience. So, I think a lot of it is just that the more hops you dump in there, the more malt they tend to dump in there to balance it out. And so, more for the yeast to eat and get more alcohol.
Yep. So, Doug, in your area, is there a lot of breweries in the area for you to kind of choose from, or do you kind of have a select few that you have to stick with, and then?
Without me trying to throw any of them under the bus, because. Well, I won't go into mentioning names because most of them aren't really that great. We've gotten within the last 5 years, we went from having 0 breweries where I am in Roanoke to maybe 7 in the last 5-6 years. and I say 7. There's a few kind of in the works, and unfortunately, like I'm all about supporting local guys, drinking local, but so far, a lot of the guys here aren't making that good of stuff, which is kind of disappointing. We've got one brewery here. I will plug them. It's called Parkway Brewing Company, Salem, Virginia. They make 2 regular, or I guess now they make 4 regular beers. They do a Belgian Blonde, an IPA, a Baltic Porter, and it's like a Belgian strong, Belgian quad. And then they've done a few special releases. They did a bourbon barrel Baltic Porter, a bourbon barrel Belgian double, a bourbon barrel. I think they did a bourbon barrel quad. But their IPA, it's fantastic. It really is, and which is a relief, because I, like many people, love IPAs, and I will drink theirs all day long.
Nice.
Now for the other 20 beers brewed locally, it's their story.
Is it just because it's popular and every home brewer wants to start opening up their own brewery now, or is it just?
Unfortunately, there's 2 breweries here. Well, all right, there's one brewery here that's just recently opened up, and I think they had one of the brewer and the owners are members of my home brew club here. And he went to school. He went to brewing school, and the guys that opened the brewery had the financial backing to really put in some top-notch equipment. But their beers are kind of subpar, and they've been all over the board. They did an IPA, which they say is only like 55 IBUs, and it tastes like it's like 90, and it's so unbalanced, terrible. They do a Scotch Wee Heavy that's not good. They do a Belgian Blonde that's, if you're going to ask me about styles, I hate that style altogether. It's just boring and bland. They do a chocolate stout that I've heard is mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
They do a Belgian quad. They've only been open for like 6 months. Or even that. Maybe like 5 months. 4 months.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, I think they're just trying to roll things out. There's another guy in our homebrew club that's opening this summer, and it's a small 2-barrel nano brewery. And if his beers are anything like his home brews, they're going to be fantastic. I got high hopes for them.
Great. Well, speaking of new breweries, I just wanted to mention, I'm trying to pull up the information for it right now, but a friend of ours, mostly, I've seen him mostly from Share a Beer, but Zach Christofferson is going to be starting his brewery this weekend, so I wanted to make sure we gave his information out. I'm trying to pull it up here, but Chain Reaction Brewing is opening up this Saturday. I think it's the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. Does anyone have any information on that, or?
Yes, that is correct. It's opening Saturday.
Who did you say?
Zach Christofferson.
Okay.
From Share a Beer. He's starting his own brewery, and they're opening up this weekend in is it in Denver, or is it just the Denver area?
Yeah,
do you know?
it's actually smack dab in the middle of Denver. He's going to have his whole line of beers up for the opening, and it's going to be good.
Nice. Are you possibly going?
I was possibly going, and then it became impossible for me, so sadly I won't be going, but I hope to visit soon. Next time I go up there, I'll definitely have to visit.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for him.
Yeah, so here's the information. It's at 902 South Lipan Street, or Lipan, Lipan, in Denver, Colorado, 80223. June 21st. Doors open at noon. This is the grand opening for Chain Reaction. So if anyone's in the area, please go check them out. As we might have discussed before, Skylar, you've had some of Zach's beers, and you can say firsthand, you know,
That's a
Pretty
guy
good at
who,
what he does.
like Doug was saying, there are a lot of homebrewers that the ones with financial backing are starting to, have big breweries and they can afford the equipment, but their beers are frankly subpar. You can have an education in beer, you can have the money for all the equipment for beer, but you have to have a passion for it, and you have to exceed what else is in your local market to be successful. And so I think that's going on all over the country right now with this whole craft beer revolution we have going on here in America.
Well, I
And,
think I think the advantage of opening in a place like Denver is you really have to stand out since there's so many breweries in the area.
absolutely,
Whereas here,
there's no margin of error.
yeah, whereas here there's not a huge craft beer presence. So, as long as you make something that's drinkable and as in like a Belgian blonde to get people in the door, that's your moneymaker. And if people drink the other stuff, so be it. But in the Denver area, you gotta hit the nail on the head every single time.
We're experiencing the same thing here in Texas, and I think eventually all of our states will progress to where Colorado is, to where we will have this vast choice of breweries, and the ones that don't make good beer will fall off, and the ones that do very well in making beer will succeed. And Denver's a great example of that, because left and right, no matter where you turn, no matter where you go to, it's great beer all around. It's incredible.
Yeah, and the food as well to go with the beer. You just can't.
Yeah, I don't know how they
lose
do it, but I've had some of the best seafood up there, and I live by the water. I know good seafood. When we were in Denver, I was like, how are they doing this? They're landlocked. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those places, man. It's great. Like I'm getting ready to meet up some friends down in Raleigh, North Carolina, here in about a month, and one of the places we're going is this small brewery called Trophy Brewing Company. That it's a small three-barrel nano brewery that sells pizza. They have like 6 beers on draft and sell pizza. That's all they do, and they knock it out of the park.
That's all you need.
Yeah, beer and pizza. That's all they do.
Yeah.
That's right.
We have a place like that in Chicago.
I think they have a few salads.
Speaking of Denver, I was just reading that I guess registration for breweries to sign up to have a booth at GABF this year. They're trying. I guess they had an issue last year that caused basically for the entire thing to sell out within like 2 hours. So with as many breweries as that are opening in the past few years, it filled up quickly, and there were a lot of pissed off breweries, and after they didn't get a booth, they didn't want to register to even compete in the competitions for the different styles. So they're doing it differently this year. They're making it after a certain limit. I guess they're going to do a lotto system for specific regions or something like that. But that is an amazing festival. They're also expanding the area, so they're supposed to have a little bit more room for more breweries to pop in there. But that's a fun town, and it's a great time of the year to go to Denver, because even if you're not at the festival, it's like everybody's got something going on. The Falling Rock is like one of the better beer bars out there, and they've always got some crazy release going on every hour during that time. It's a lot of fun. It's an exciting town, and you see a lot of the beer celebrities that you read about and see, and they're just walking around drinking beers and sharing and opening up new stuff. So, but yeah, so that's expanding. Has anyone else ever been? Skylar, have you ever been to that? I can't remember if you've ever talked about GABF.
No, unfortunately, I've never been to that one. One day, that's like the E3 of beer. That's
It's definitely on the bucket list
that I'll never be able to afford to go to. So, no.
Well, I went, and it wasn't bad price wise, and I think that was the only reason I just kind of swung it. But it's worth the time and the money spent. It's a fun time.
There's always so many people there, so many beers to be had.
I think that's my problem. Is like trying to select what I would want to have.
It was hard. I remember the year that we were there, like everyone kind of had rumors that they had heard or read about, and there were booths that were just rushed on. And but the other cool thing is that they have vendors that are selling or just handing out samples of beer-related products. So there was like one company that made chocolate out of hops. They like infused hops in it somehow. I don't know if it was the actual leaves, but maybe like the oils or whatever. But you could taste like the flavors of the hop in the chocolate. It was kind of cool. So there's all kinds of neat stuff like that.
There's a small brewery here in Virginia called Devil's Backbone that won Best Small Brew Pub in the country at GABF last year.
Nice. Was that based off of any specific beer, or what was the...
Whatever the GABF uses to rank beer's best small brew pub. I know
the whole pub.
I know I was trying to find their information on here, but they don't have it on the website. But they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 medals at the 2012 Great American Beer Festival.
Wow, that's awesome. Speaking of the devil, we were just talking about you, Zach.
How's it going?
What's going on?
Just getting home, just finished dinner. Thought I'd pop in as quick as I could.
Nice, man. Well, we already mentioned your opening. We gave the address and told them to go in there at noon.
Yep, Saturday at noon. We'll be open on Sunday too. So come in all the time.
You emailed it or you messaged me on Facebook. What is the list? How many beers again? I don't know if you have.
There's 16 different beers.
Wow.
6 flagships, 4 seasonals, and then 6 small batch beers.
That's crazy.
So
what's
the buzz like?
Everything's going really well. Everybody seems really excited. It's just a crazy time, kind of. But we're really excited about it. All the beers are tasting really good.
Exciting, man. I saw the sign is up.
We got the sign up. I finally got chairs today, so people don't have to just stand. So that's kind of a nice feature.
Important for the later part of the night. That's good.
Yeah. So we got that kind of stuff. I just got to pick up some picnic tables tomorrow for the outside portion, and then we're good.
What are you going to do, food trucks, or do you have...
we got a food truck coming for the opening. We've got a place called Pride of Philly. They do really good Philly cheesesteaks. The dude's actually from Philly, so he knows what he's doing. And then on Sunday, we've got a taco cart coming to sling some street tacos. And then the weekend after that, we've got like a Baja Mexican type guy.
Nice. That sounds awesome, man. So, are there pictures up yet as far as how it's looking yet, or are you kind of waiting?
There's a little bit up right now, but I'll have more in like the next day or two.
All right. So, anything you want to promote for the opening, or anything you want to
just come down and we open on Saturday, but we're always hoping to have people anytime that they're in town. If you're from Denver, then jump in and come hang out.
What's the area like that you're in? Is there
it's halfway between. It's our side of the street is all industrial, and then the other side of the street is all residential. Here in Denver, we have a thing called the light rail. It's kind of like the train out there in Chicago. Mm-hmm. You can kind of get around the whole city. We're about probably about a 15-minute, 20-minute walk off of 2 different stations of that. We're 4 blocks off of a bike path that's right off the river, the main river here in town.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Perfect, man. And are you growing your own hops? Because I know you do that at home, right?
Yeah, I have mine planted in my backyard, and then my brother's growing some in his backyard. Then my dad's got some as well. What we're going to do is we're going to do a small batch from each backyard once they get going. So probably next year will be when those two's. But they did, I've got them to where they did, I think it's Chinook, Nugget, and Cascade in one backyard, and then I think it's Cascade, Nugget, and Magnum in another yard. So we're going to do a fresh hop out of each yard, kind of see how that kind of compares. And then we just signed up, kind of got a contract going. We're going to do 4 fresh hop beers at harvest time with a local hop grower called High Hops Farms. So we're going to do a straight Nugget, Chinook, a CTZ, and a Cascade. All Colorado-grown fresh hops. So
Nice.
That's awesome, man.
yeah, it should be a fun time come, I guess, into September.
We were just talking about GABF registration coming up. Are you even bothering with that yet? Or
Yeah, we're going to register. It's a lot better done this year. I don't know if you guys got into how it's changed or not.
We mentioned it. We didn't really get into details. So
It used to just be one day. Every brewery had to sign up on one day. It always crashed the system. It always was just kind of a mess. Now they've spread it out. It goes from the 17th to the 26th, and that's to register your brewery. And then from the 1st to the 11th is your deadline to, if you'd like to have a booth at the fest. And then if there's too many, yeah, we'll probably do it. Just because we're in town, it doesn't really. We don't have to ship beer anywhere, And then after that, you select which beers you can enter in the competition compared to if you just want to pour some at the fest. And I think we'll probably just do 2 beers. We'll probably enter 2 beers. We'll see what's selling the best once we get opened up. And that's what we'll enter.
Nice. Do you have any in mind as far as maybe like a top 5 that you might be thinking about?
I really like our IPA. And when you enter the GABF, though, the thing is you got to think about a style guideline. To me, it would be pointless to put my orange cream ale or my saison into a competition because they don't go by the style enough. I think we've got a really solid red ale, a really solid English mild, stuff like that. We've got some pretty good ones.
Yeah. I mean, in the long run, it's more about what people want to drink and if they like it, not as far as,
Yeah, and that's
fitting a guideline just so you can win a medal. If it's more interesting and people want to drink it, then you did it without having to earn a medal for the beer. You did it with people just liking it.
Yeah, who cares about medals in the long run? It's just like trophies. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for...
it's great for business to say that you have that, but, you win a GABF medal, okay, I'm going to brew this beer the rest of my life, and I'm never going to have a problem selling it, and everything's great, but a lot of the gold medal winners, I don't really care for them.
Some of them, yeah, you're right. But it's good for getting your name out there for sure. But at the same time, you're one in the best city for that at that time. Like you've got a brewery in Denver, so when people fly into town, they're just gonna look for the closest brewery to them. And if you're near, they're gonna check you out. And
you do some marketing, get people out.
Yeah, how far ahead are you guys thinking about that? Are you already doing stuff to kind of promote anything, or? I know you're not even opened yet, but how far in advance do you guys start thinking about that?
Yeah, we're pretty advanced in how we do it. We always are pushing the breweries, and always just I try to come on here and other beer shows to. It's not just about the people in Denver; it's about people that come to Denver or want to come and drink in Denver. I know one of you guys came to Comic-Con last year, right?
Yeah, that would be me. That was just last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did a big business, I hear.
Yeah, no, that convention just gets ridiculously bigger every year. I mean, it's literally every year that they've been open, they've added 25,000 people at the door each year, and
Yeah.
it's just insane growth.
I think they say it's the next biggest next to GABF for that center.
That wouldn't surprise me. And they're not even filling it yet, but they will be eventually.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, I meant to ask you because when opening up around here, I've noticed that a lot of people are pouring their beers in sort of a series of events leading up to the opening of their own facility. What has your experience been in sort of the lead up as far as promoting yourself at either festivals or restaurants in town, stuff like that? How have you been doing that?
It's kind of a tricky deal. It just depends on the laws in your individual city, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Ours, you have to have all your brewer's license. You have to have all of your licenses to even serve or get into any of the festivals.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't really been going to a lot of the festivals. Also, they are pretty expensive for you to go to. I mean, you look at the profit margin on a keg, how many kegs you get out of a beer in a tap room at $5 a piece, compared to most festivals. You donate that beer, you don't get paid back for it.
Right.
So that's kind of been tough. We brewed a couple of different collaboration type batches with other breweries in town, and that kind of pushes our name out there as far as what they're following. And then we'll do a little tiny, small, soft opening the night before, just to kind of show select people the brewery. And we've also been having the media come in each day of the week for the past little while, and we give them a couple of tasters, show them around the building, and then they write an article and really kind of push that stuff out there for us.
Is there anywhere you want to mention that your beers are already pouring in the Denver area? That people can
not
taste
yet.
your stuff?
It's just going to be at the tap room right off the bat. It's a different. I haven't really been in the Chicago beer scene for so many years. It's been a while since I've been out there, and it's a different world. I think maybe Skylar can kind of dive into how Denver's breweries are set up. It's not like most other cities. They are very dedicated to being in tap rooms only, or very select few beer bars. And Skylar, speaking from an outsider point of view, may have the more of a better description on how Denver really is with that stuff.
Yeah, Zach's absolutely right. Denver, the way they've evolved, as we were talking earlier with Doug and I, and how other cities are just progressing towards eventually being what Denver is now. Denver's very centered around local involvement and just being in this very tight group, this very tight circle. And it's very, very different than the way everything else runs, because like we were saying earlier, they're already established. They're already the best of the best. There's no crap to sift through. So from there, it's just who can do more for the community, who can do more collaborations with local ingredients and finding locally sourced ingredients to use. And it's really interesting, but the end product of it all is a better beer, and it shows.
And I also want maybe your opinion on, it's different in Denver as well, because you go to so many other cities, and I would say you can find 80% of the beers that are brewed at breweries there in most of your liquor stores. Mm-hmm. When you come to Denver, I think it's the exact opposite. That 80 to 90% of the beers that are brewed here, you can't find in liquor stores, that are more just taproom rarities.
Really? Okay. Well, that's good. I like
place.
that I like that it's different. And I've been to Denver just one I can't remember if it was once or twice, but definitely at least once. But it is different. I mean, but I went to a couple breweries, but I spent a lot of time at the Falling Rock too because they had a lot of good releases there. But
Oh yeah.
But in Chicago, there's a lot of smaller breweries. Some that are, they're just starting out, and before they're even open and canning or bottling anything, they are relying on just getting their name and reputation out by, selling on tap at certain bars within the city or in the suburbs. So
And
I didn't realize.
How is it with the Chicago? How is the big breweries how do they interact with the small ones?
It's actually nice. I mean, they do a lot of collaborations. Like Revolution's huge now, with the amount that they distribute out. I don't know where they're going out to right now, but between them and some of the smaller guys, I was just at an event. We talked about it on the show, so I won't get into too much detail. But Goose Island threw an event at a new barreling house that they just opened up. It was like an airplane hangar. It was huge, and all of the breweries in Chicago competed in a bracket style dodgeball tournament. They all just kind of got together and they all gave their beer away for free. So even the bigger guys. I mean, Goose Island still stays in with they try to stay local as much as they can, but. But for the newer guys that are kind of getting big, or like Half Acre and Revolution, they're still working with the smaller guys. So it's not it's nice the way it's working, because there's just new ones popping up. Like every day, I'm hearing of a new one that I've never even heard of before. It's crazy.
For sure. Excuse me, one sec, guys.
Yeah. So Mike, how's your beer? Is it you still working on the Enjoy By, or is there anything new that you've opened over there?
No, that's what I'm working on. I just poured the second half of it here. It's 9.4, so it's a double. It's an imperial. It's a nice beer for your average Wednesday night.
Yeah,
no, but it's very tasty. It's about as bitter as they come. Which is what you like in a West Coast and a double IPA. So really enjoying it, and I think it's good. I know that we've been adding some different categories to the wheel lately, and I like that we've got we've specialized IPAs here. Whether it's from a certain state or a specific type of IPA, it seems like IPAs in particular. There's such variety within the category now, and it makes life more interesting. You're trying out these different categories of IPAs or different categories of stouts or what have you, and so it's good. I think we should keep it up.
Yeah, there's different. We can always switch that up and put on something. I mean, I saw a lot of IPAs now are being made with different like fruits and stuff. That's becoming quite popular, especially in the summertime. But a lot of coffee IPAs have been popping up too. That I just don't know if that's a good mix. I don't really think I've had a really good one yet. It just seems like a contrasting taste. I don't know. Unless you're going with like a black IPA, it might work a little bit better because you got the roasty characters already in there. But because I've been loving black IPAs lately.
I think you gotta just pick your hops right, and if you pick the right hop, a super earthy hop, I think would be the only way you could do a good coffee one.
Yeah. Have you ever done one before?
We do a black IPA that we put anise and orange peel in. That usually comes out around Christmas time, and it's a great beer. It's super dark and roasty and has a lot of coffee notes to it, but we use a hop from the UK called Phoenix, and it's a really earthy hop, and it almost has notes of like molasses and that kind of stuff to the actual hop. which go really, really well with those darker profiles. But yeah, we have a brewery here in town called Renegade. They do, it's a strong ale with coffee, and it's really interesting when you pick up like a beer that's not dark and it punches you in the mouth with coffee.
Yeah. Well, what was the one that we had here, Mike? It was, I forget the name of the brewery, but it was Morningwood was the name of the beer.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
is that a amber ale with coffee?
I can't remember. I liked it a little bit more than you did. It's Local Option is the name.
One of my favorite coffee stouts is from out in your area, Red Eye. I really like Red Eye, wherever that's. I can't. Two Brothers, I think it is, or something, or not.
Oh wow, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
That's
Warren.
a really nice beer.
Did you get a lot of Two Brothers out there?
No, we actually, my wife and I got a bunch of bombers for our wedding a few years ago from some family I have in Chicago, and we just slowly kind of worked through them, and I really appreciated that one.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a good brewery out there. I haven't been there in a few years, but I've been to one of their release parties that they used to do. But they're out of Aurora now because I think they purchased the Walter Payton Roundhouse. So now they've got a huge area out there. I've never been there, but I've heard it's big.
Sweet. So I heard you guys are all drinking IPAs tonight, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went West Coast style IPA this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really fits the style super like that, but I'm drinking a Ruthless Rye right now
Oh, nice.
from Sierra Nevada.
That is a great West Coast IPA, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's a good one.
I
I just love rye. Anything with rye, I'm a whore for rye.
Me too.
Oh, man.
Founder's Red Rye is one of my favorite beers. It's amazing, and I even love the label. It's cool so much that I bought a T-shirt with the label on it. It's like one of my favorites. Yeah, it's great.
Deal.
Have you had this Green Flash Road Warrior Rye, Imperial Rye IPA?
That's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm drinking tonight.
I was up at the tap house up the street from my house, and myself and the Colorado Green Flash rep were having a couple of beers and just trading industry stories and stuff. And that's such a cool company. I love Green Flash.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun place to stop in. I didn't get to go on the tour, but I saw one going on, and it was pretty. It almost looked like a really brand new warehouse where you would see like a storage facility, but it was was cool. It's a cool brewery, but they have tons of beer on tap all at once. It's kind of crazy. But we went there on Halloween weekend, so they had people dressed up and walking through. But the cool thing I like about most of the breweries in California, and I don't know if it's like that in Denver, but it's very dog friendly too, where you can. Yeah. There's probably 3 or 4 dogs walking around through the brewery where you kind of have tap room area, not so much.
Yeah, most of them are. Most are dog friendly here as well. City of Denver had an issue with it for a little while, and then they've kind of backed back off of it.
Nice. Well, Mike mentioned the wheel a little bit ago, and I see that we've got about a 5-minute mark before the end of the show. So I thought maybe we'd do a little editing to the wheel and take one off or take a couple off and add some. We'll take off the West Coast IPA. But right now we've got a Belgian. We're going to keep the wild card on there. Collaboration beer. Anything from the state of Washington, anything 10% or higher. We've just got a general IPA. Got a rye beer is already on there. IPA with Cascade, anything barrel aged. Let's see, anything from your cellar. Anything canned. Brandon has his malt liquor on here still. Saison. a blended beer we talked about last week, so that's still on here. Smoked, a cream ale, a New York beer, and a Berliner Weiss.
I have an idea.
All right.
How about a Kolsch?
I like it.
That's a popular style right now. I know it's very popular here in Texas. We have a wide variety of Kolsches.
Kolsch is definitely a good style. It's a good one to do a verse cream ale with, too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea.
Ale lager.
Yeah.
Anybody else feel strongly about any style that we need to add?
Nope. That's a lot of beer, too, so I think we're
You
good.
could go on for days, man.
I know, I was like, man, I'm reading these. I'm like, I feel like this is going on forever. All right, we'll give it a real spin after this one's
I think
done.
it'd be good to have like a beer with coriander category.
Oh. The wit would dominate.
Would you want to add it, or you want to, or do we?
I have no idea. I was just throwing that out there. I started getting a lot of questions lately about people don't know what coriander is or what the flavors of it are.
No, I like that idea. I like the idea of adding coriander, or maybe we should put that on the list. But having a beer that with some other ingredient besides a specific hop or specific malt.
Yeah, totally go for spiced beer, because coriander could be hard to get in market, but if you go with the more generic spiced beer, you've got more open and ground to kind of play around with it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, spiced beer.
So are we adding that, or are we?
Go for it.
Put it on. Put it on. Why not?
All right, spiced beer, and then we'll give her a spin.
All right.
There we go. It's weird without Skylar's drum roll.
Oh.
Rye beer! Woo!
Land on rye. It's been a while since we haven't heard that. All right, rye beer as it is. Then looks like we talked about it enough to make it happen. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for jumping on here tonight, and we'll be drinking rye beers next week. We're on here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. And again, let's mention, give any information you want, Zach, about your opening this weekend. It's Saturday the 21st, is it?
Yep.
At noon.
At noon.
And what's the address?
902 South Lipan Street. That's Denver, Colorado 80223. You can find our regular website is chainreactionbrewingco.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and we try to update those fairly regularly. So,
cool, awesome.
Good luck with the opening.
What was that?
Good luck.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on tonight, and definitely want to see you guys next week if I can make it.
Yeah, post any pictures of the release or the opening, and we'd love to see how big it goes. So
yeah, for sure.
Good luck and cheers, everybody. Thanks. We'll be on again next week, same time as we always do, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Cheers.
Cheers.